A Florida city faced intense criticism after fining a woman over $100,000 for a parking violation. The real shocker, however, is the location where she was parked when she received the fine. It's no surprise that this incident has fueled growing discontent with big government. Sandy Martinez, along with her mother, sister, and 3 children, 2 of whom are now adults, had limited parking options at their shared Lantana home. The driveway simply couldn't accommodate the 4 drivers in the household, forcing Sandy to park her vehicle as best she could. Unfortunately, this meant that her car was partially on the grass in her front yard. Since it was her own property and the car was only partly on the grass, Sandy didn't see an issue. However, the city disagreed. The town of Lantana cited Section 6.30 of the Code of Ordinances, which mandates that all off-street parking spaces, including driveways, excluding parking spaces in swale areas, as permitted by Section 17.34, must be surfaced with asphalt, concrete, or block, and maintained in good repair. Citing this ordinance, the town issued Sandy Martinez a violation. Sandy called the city, but an inspector never came to her residence. In fact, she told reporters that she repeatedly left voicemail after voicemail with the town, trying to get someone to come to her home, but to no avail. She eventually gave up and stopped calling after playing phone tag with the city. Unfortunately for Sandy, things were far from over. More than a year after she was first cited for the violation, she discovered that the city had been fining her $250 a day for 47 days, resulting in a total of $11,750 for the minor offense of parking in her own driveway incorrectly. But that's not all. On top of that already hefty fine for the harmless offense of parking her car partially on her own grass in violation of town codes, the city hit Sandy with an additional $65,000 in fines for cosmetic violations, including cracks in the driveway and a broken fence. With all the fines combined, Sandy owed the city over $165,000, almost 4 times more than she earns in an entire year. I've been living here for 17 years now, and I'm being fined over $165,000 for parking on my own property, Sandy explained during a press conference. I think it's ridiculous that they're charging so much in fines for something so small, she said. They let the fines run for over a year, and that's ridiculous. Initially, the town offered to reduce the fines to $25,000, but only if Sandy paid by a specified date. According to Nicole Dritz, the town's development services director, when Sandy failed to pay, the original fines were reinstated, but Sandy wasn't going down without a fight. Hit with over a year's worth of daily fines that far exceeded her income for partially parking on her own front lawn, Sandy and the Institute for Justice filed a lawsuit against the town of Lantana, Florida, arguing that the extraordinary fines plainly violate the excessive fines clause of the Florida Constitution, according to WPTV. It's also worth mentioning that Sandy's neighbors never complained, according to the lawsuit. Sandy isn't suing for monetary damages. Instead, her lawsuit seeks a declaratory judgment from the court that the fines imposed on her are unconstitutional. We're suing, asking the court to issue a declaratory judgment that says the fines imposed against Sandy are unconstitutionally excessive because they are grossly disproportionate to the offense, Ari Bargil, Sandy's lawyer, explained. We're not asking for money. We're fighting on principle on behalf of Sandy, Bargil added. That's really what this case is about, excessive fines, he explained. We are here in this driveway because of a $100,000 parking violation, and on top of that, an additional $65,000 in fines for cosmetic violations that my client fixed years ago, including cracks in the driveway and a broken fence after a storm. Calling the amount of the fines catastrophic, Ari Bargil added, the government doesn't have the power to impose the financial death penalty for trivial violations. Mike Greenberg, who also represents Sandy Martinez, noted that their client immediately rectified all the offenses, but a code inspector had not come by to confirm the changes and drop the fines. According to the Eighth Amendment of the United States Constitution, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted if over $165,000 in fines for the harmless offense of parking her car partially on her own front lawn isn't excessive, as well as cruel and unusual punishment. I don't know what is. This town should be ashamed. This case has not only drawn widespread attention, but also sparked a broader discussion about the balance between enforcing local ordinances and ensuring fair treatment of residents. Sandy's situation underscores a growing concern about municipal fines being used as a revenue source rather than for genuine enforcement of community standards. The City of Lantana's heavy-handed approach raises important questions about the fairness of their policies and the impact on residents, particularly those from lower-income backgrounds. As fines for minor infractions can quickly spiral out of control, they risk placing undue financial burdens on individuals who are already struggling. This case illustrates how such punitive measures can have devastating effects, especially when compounded by bureaucratic inefficiencies and a lack of proper communication. Moreover, Sandy's story highlights the need for clearer and more compassionate enforcement practices. While maintaining community standards is important, it is equally crucial that local governments apply regulations in a way that is both just and reasonable. The extreme nature of Sandy's fines suggests a disconnect between the intentions of local ordinances and their real-world impact on residents. As Sandy and her legal team continue to challenge the fines in court, their case may set a precedent that influences how similar cases are handled in the future. A ruling in Sandy's favor could lead to changes in how municipalities enforce codes and fines, potentially leading to more equitable practices that better balance enforcement with respect for property rights and financial constraints. In the meantime, Sandy's battle highlights the critical need to hold local governments accountable. It emphasizes the necessity for oversight and reform in municipal fine systems to prevent misuse and ensure fair treatment for all residents. The outcome of this case could not only affect Sandy's life, but also lead to broader changes in how local authorities enforce laws and penalize their citizens. As the legal proceedings progress, Sandy's case is likely to attract continued public attention and spark discussions about government accountability and the need for reform. It stands as a powerful example of how individual efforts can challenge systemic problems and ignite important conversations about justice and fairness in local governance. What do you think of this incident? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.